Welcome to the Cosmic Nonsense Happy Hour. I'm Jesse.
I'm Amy.
Join us as we dissect existence and laugh maniacally.
Today we will talk about programming and shit you shouldn't say in mixed company.
Enjoy.
You know, religious programming, you have family programming, you have the inherently, sexist programming that like sometimes people aren't even like aware of.
Yeah. Trust me, stuff like that in me surfaces, because like the other day, I got to be careful sometimes because I fail to understand how that could be a sensitive topic with someone because I'm in that like area of privilege or something like that. Because the one day someone posted something about like it's equal pay day, like the day that women and men like now, and I don't know how this is even like figured out, but it was something about like it is, it's 2021 and now like women and men are actually making like the same wages, not based on their gender or whatever. And I'm like, I forgot I was going to say something stupid. Like, I'm like, it's only a matter of time before women start getting paid more than men. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe that wouldn't be. And I kind of, that wasn't to be snarky or anything like that. It was just kind of like, I just see it happening at some point is all like, and it's not, and again, it's not like a bad thing that I'm pointing out. It's like women deserve that. Not necessarily. I think everybody, of course, should be, weighted similar depending on their gender and stuff like that. Because yeah, all right. Now we have women and men, but I'm sure this is going to be a cascading thing where it goes down to like, I don't know, non-binary people and transgender, and stuff like that. It's like, it's a long list of people getting fucked in America right now. So,
well, and like African American women in particular are generally at the bottom of that ladder. Yeah. And so like, that's a huge thing too. When you talk about sexist programming, like it doesn't like we're making advances, but yeah, Watts. He agrees with me.
Yeah, he's very concerned about civil rights.
He is, as he should be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense because he's black and white, so he can see both sides of that. He's like, look, I get it, guys.
He likes me.
He does.
But yeah, so like we make advancements, but it's like a common thing for.
Don't brush up against the mic. Yeah.
Wow, you are distracting. I was trying to make a point here.
Yeah, I know. This is going to be the problem here.
All the animals. Yeah, because even with like the Women's March, I guess that was an issue where like, and I didn't realize it at the time, that then you had like the racist issue come into play.
Yep.
Where it wasn't being as openly accepting, which to me, it boggles my mind because like, if you're talking about women as a whole, then you should be talking about women as a whole, not
a select.
Yeah, not just white women. Like it can't just be one group. It has to be everybody for us to actually get anything done.
It's got to be white people first.
Oh.
like, whoa. We were talking about us. Well, we weren't.
That sadly, like that does seem to be the situation in a lot of causes. And it's like, oh, let's help the poor, but only these specific poor children, not all of them.
Yeah. And it's amazing how that happens. And it just shows you, from a programming standpoint, like just how deeply embedded that is. And as I said,
oh yeah, it goes deep, man.
About the equal pay thing, I had to really like flex those like empathetic skills, because it's just like, I mean, yeah, I'm a white male. I have glasses. That's got to put me probably among a higher privilege or something like that. Because now people think I'm smart because of the way I look. Like, oh, you got to be intelligent, right? No, not really.
Yeah, there's so much, and like especially with the religious stuff, because no matter what religion you're brought up with, and maybe, I mean, I could be totally wrong about this, but I feel like there's definitely like a Christian layer that just, I figured it was, I heard somebody talking about it before, and it was like the Christian effect or the Christian wound. I think it was the Christian wound.
I like that.
And it was because it tied in so heavily with colonization and with, you know, globalization, that no matter what religion you were raised with, you wound up with some level of a wound because of that religion. So, you know, especially if you were another religion, because then, as we all know, most Christians don't look too kindly on other religions because they think you're going to hell.
Well, yeah. Well, then it's like, oh.
And if you have no religion, somehow that makes you even worse.
Well, it just makes you, you know,
heathen.
Well, yeah, it makes you like open season. They're like, oh, well, all right. Oh, you got no religion? You want to check this one out? Mm-hmm. Here's what religion is, you know? And then they're like,
just this one though.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's what fucks me up about that whole thing.
And I know it's not all Christians.
Yeah.
But
it doesn't need to be a blanket generalization. But I think historically, we could probably at least agree with that. You know, it's like you got these missionaries and stuff trying to actively bring Jesus to people, you know, and
what do they call that? Proselytizing, or
I don't know. I'm not gonna go there because I honestly don't know, but
yeah,
that sort of thing.
Well, when that was like kind of the evil genius of it all, was that, you know, not only are we going to teach this religion and tell it to people, but we're going to make it part of the mission of this deity, is to go out and
spread the word,
make more of you.
Yeah. That, and, you know, and on that topic, and I'm not going to name the organization specifically, but when I was part of the Buddhist group that I belonged to back in the day, that was like one of those things that didn't sit with me, is because that was like part of their just their thing. Their practice was to go out and like talk to people about this Buddhism and stuff like that. And like, just, it seemed very Christian to me, is all I'm saying. And even in one of the,
I think that's because the Christians are most well known for that.
Well, and
I know there are other religions that do it, but by no means has it spanned the centuries and the countries and the widespreadness of Christianity.
It's deep. Well, and that's the thing. I didn't know if it was just from like competitive standpoint. They're like, look, if we want to get Buddhism out to people, we got to hit the fucking streets. These Christians are killing us. Like, they're out there every fucking day. They got TV shows. You know, it's like they got everything. What do we got?
Right.
It's like,
well, and I was thinking, like, from an educational standpoint, like, I think it would be amazing if more religions were like that, but at least from, you can come to us. We're not going to come knocking on your door. Like, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like if libraries or something, you know, hosted events where you could learn about a different religion, I think that would be amazing, because I really do think that learning about other various cultures and things helps breed understanding and empathy.
That I'd agree with 100%. And one of the things I was going to say about, you're talking about the Christian wound, and I think the difference between, I'm sure somebody more scholarly than myself could probably speak to this. So I don't want to sound like, oh, I know specifically, but from all my history books, I think it's safe to say that no other religion ever has so deeply permeated the entire globe as Christianity has. I mean, the Catholic Church, well, okay, and I guess Christian, Catholic, whatever you want to say, like that shit is deep, like deeply rooted in the earth at this point. It's like all over the place.
Well, and how much damage they did. It really is a wound when you think about the way that Native Americans were treated by Christian missionaries. And
let's not go there. It's like, we didn't look too good after that one.
No, that's a whole other topic.
Yeah. Here's your Bible. Here's your smallpox. Bye. Like,
so terrible.
Whoops.
Well, some of it was like slavery too,
oh yeah, I'm
basically.
sure it was worse. Like, it's not, it's like, it's one of those things that I feel like it gets talked about, but man, and I think people just don't even want to reflect on it. Like how big of assholes that are, well, I don't want to say our ancestors specifically, just because I know that ours came from like Poland.
Not that long ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but American ancestors, had treated them, and it's bad, like it goes, there's like multiple shitty layers to it. It's like, it's not just like, we did this, but we did this, we did this, we did this.
Yeah. It wasn't just one group that like showed up and treated Native Americans shittily. It was
the Spanish.
It was like, first it was the Spaniards, and then,
the conquistadors.
They were so it was just like wave after wave.
Just shitting all over the Native Americans.
More assholes showing up. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure that historically there are certain, and maybe that's even fucked up to say. I was going to say, I'm sure that historically there was even like tribes of Native Americans that were just known to be assholes as well, like the conquistadors. But relatively speaking, depending on who you are, determines what you view as an asshole, right? Because if you're,
that goes along with programming.
Yeah, it does. It does.
I like how you tied that back.
Yeah, because I was actually gonna, bring up everybody's favorite group, the Nazis, and to them, everybody else were the assholes. Like it wasn't. They weren't like, we actively are seeking to do evil unto the world, and we know it's evil. I think it takes a special type of person to do that.
So speaking to that in particular, I've always wondered if the person who like originally had the idea for that did know what they were doing. I was like, how do I get people to go along with this? I'm like, I want to be an asshole to all these other people.
Yeah.
How do I make that work?
Yeah. How can I hook this up? Because this would be sweet for me.
Well, I also think we saw a good portion of that in real time over the last 4 years, 6 years, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not hard. Which actually, so one of the topics that I did write down is how history doesn't exist.
Fuck. Cole, you better write that one down, because
it is. It's in my notes.
You just blew my mind right now.
Yeah. The last 6 years and watching how all of this is unfolded really kind of hit that home. So yeah, that's going to be a big topic, and we can do like a whole separate thing on that. But
oh, sure.
But yeah, programming, it's when you think about it, like the people who, and you've talked about this before, like you make decisions based on what you know in that moment. And so if everything you know in that moment is that you're the best and everybody else sucks, then that's how you're going to make decisions.
It's true. That's something actually we say at work a lot. You only know what you know. And it's 100%. I mean, that right there is almost like, I'm sure there's some fancy word for it, because it's like, yeah, no, that's like a fact on top of a fact. You only know what you know. It's like, it is 100% true. And there's, sometimes not a lot of
that's one of those things too, that can allow you to forgive yourself for not recognizing some of that programming.
Well, and it can be tough too, because
some of it is super insidious.
Well, it's super insidious, but like you brought up, and I don't know if that was actually, I think that might have been just part of our warm-up conversation as opposed to the actual conversation that's going to be released. But you're talking about the different types of programming, and that's a list that could go all day. But recognizing it is what I was trying to get to, recognizing the programming, because you can't do anything about it
if you don't know it.
Yeah, if you don't know it. And there's your own programming that I guess could just be simplified as like the ego, right? Because I've actually, oh my gosh, I've been connecting all kinds of dots lately, and I've been like, holy fuck, I've been doing this the whole time. Why do I treat myself this? It's like,
oh yeah.
When you're just like, oh, you could never do that. Well, why the fuck not? Like, why can't I?
Oh yeah, who
said that?
Especially when you have like anxiety or depression. Like I am constantly having to tell part of my brain to shut the fuck up, like all the time now.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you saying that right now? There's no reason. You don't even have historical evidence. This is how you're gonna.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. It's like, based on what? Like, why do you think that is unattainable for you?
Yeah.
When you're a pretty cool guy, all right? That you got evidence of, and there are people who will back me up on this. Not a lot of them, but they're out there. If you ask any of my animals, they will 100% agree.
That's right. I notice how Watts is suddenly very silent.
No, he's still purring, probably. You just can't hear it over the sound of distant dog barks.
He's so handsome.
Yes, he's a handsome boy. But yeah, so yeah, programming that can get deep. But for sure, the
self-programming is
layers on layers of programming.
Sometimes I think that's one that can be more easily recognized, because you have, usually, if you're lucky, you have a decent friend who's like, why do you do that? Like, why do you do that to yourself?
Well, and that's provided that it's something that can be outwardly recognized, because there's
that's true,
because there's layers of programming that programs that I run inside my mind that
never even hit the surface.
Yeah, because it's just like, it's how I make choices and stuff like that. Okay, well, I gotta stop doing that, like, because I like myself at least a little bit more than that, to be like that shitty towards myself, to like limit yourself on things, because certainly, and I know everybody probably has this, but like programs that you run based on, and some of it probably is based on like historical stuff. It's like, historically, I haven't seen this work out for me, therefore
and sometimes it's, you haven't seen something work out for anybody else either.
Oh yeah, that's like having like okay, being the youngest in our family,
we didn't set a very good example.
I got to see a lot of shit, happen between all of you. I mean, Holly, she was doing stuff.
Mhm.
Chrissy, she did a lot of stuff. Sorry, maybe I shouldn't be using their real names. So Bali was doing this.
I did think about that. Like, should we?
Frissy, it's not a real name, but that's what we'll go with.
Gonna change their names to protect the not innocent.
Yeah, the not innocent. They actually did these things that I'm not going to go into detail and describe, but that's another thing. That actually
observational programming too, because we've talked about it as far as like family history. For us to be where we are right now is kind of like, I don't know about you, I didn't think I'd be doing this well.
Yeah, no. Yeah. And that's based on historical data.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, dude, well, I was just talking about it earlier. Gosh, it's interesting how that lined up. I was just talking about it earlier at mom and dad's house with Teven.
Uh-huh.
Teven is a real name. And I'm like, yeah, I actually used to be really shitty with money.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I was younger, like before college. And so yeah, to be like making the amount of money that I'm making, at my job, like that right there is, because I even thought, like, when I got into graphic design, I thought 40 G's. I'm like, oh, that's how I know I hit the big time. Like that's all I'm gonna make. That's like my high mark. And now I'm like nearly making twice that, or like $300 doesn't seem like a lot of money anymore. Like it's an unfortunate thing, right? Because it's like, it's relative, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's relative to the amount of, as you get older, you have larger expenses and stuff like that. So when your mortgage is like $1,300 or something like that, or you have to, if you're me, you wind up paying few grand in taxes or something like that. You're like, $300. It's not going to get a whole lot, but again, it's relative, right? It's all relative to where you're at and what your individual experience is. Because if you look at it in a different lens, right?
Well, financial programming is like a whole other thing.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh my gosh. But looking at it from the point of bills, $300 sometimes isn't a whole lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
But looking at it from a standpoint of candy, $300, that's a fucking ton of candy.
Yeah,
you're going to have a lot of candy,
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're getting it from like
world-class chocolatier.
Well, okay, I wasn't going to go there, but yeah, that's a good point. But I was going to say it like one of those places where it's like a point of purchase.
Oh, I was scoping out a place
like AutoZone, and it's like $3 for a Snickers. You're like, fuck you.
No, I was checking out these fancy chocolates that are like infused with different botanicals and things like for
infusion. That is fancy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What is it? What are we talking? What's the damage here? Are we talking like $10 a bar?
Oh, they're not bars. They're like little pieces.
A bouillon.
Yeah.
Like chocolate bouillon.
Tiny cube.
And it's weighted in grams.
Yes. But so they have like mugwort and stuff like that. Like they're like make you see shit kind of stuff.
Yeah. No, shit. Hook me up with that URL. I'll put it in the description for this episode. And maybe they'll recognize it and be like, hey, let's throw them some money for. I don't think sponsorship works that way.
I don't think so either.
But is it bad? See, talk about programming.
Is think about sponsorship?
No, you said mugwort, and all I heard was Muggle and Hogwarts. Like, that was where my mind. I was like, yes, Harry Potter is good.
Mm-hmm.
And chocolate frogs. They got that.
That's true.
And they give them chocolate when they're like fucked up. Like, eat this chocolate. You'll be all right. Like, you sure this is like 99% cow?
That stuff is so gross.
I think my threshold is about 80. Like, there's still like some sweetness present.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't do like the straight stuff.
Dude, I think the most I did was like, they had some stupid percentage.
It starts to taste like chalk.
Yeah, no, it's not the best. At Aldi, and again, at Baldy, like try like not mention actual names. It's fine. It's Aldi. Anyway, they're not going to come after me.
Everyone loves Aldi's.
Yeah.
We're not saying anything negative about them.
Yeah.
Their specialty brand. Talk about those chocolate bouillons.
Yeah. Chocolate bouillon.
Sea salt, caramel. You get yourself some of that.
Yeah. But they have some silly, like, is it actually pronounced cow or cocoa?
I don't know.
Cocoa. So chocolate percentage. I don't want to sound dumb, even though it's like half of what I do. But they have like these weird percentages, be like 92% or like 72%, like 71%. Like, I just
making stuff up now.
How'd you land there? Like, where you're like 70%. Like, okay, Steve, get real. 70%. I'm gonna need a better number than that. 71. Fuck, that's it. 71%. Oh, and it's so snooty. 71.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it's got a little attitude to it.
Yeah, exactly. It does. Like, they're back there with like beakers and shit, like mixing
perfect ratios.
Yeah, perfect chocolate ratios. Like,
so how did we do? Did we make it to 15 minutes before we went on a chocolate tangent?
No, I think we actually did. I think because that
I'm impressed.
Yeah, that was our goal today. Was like, I actually dialed it back to 10 minutes. So like, if we can stay on a topic talking about programming for 10 minutes,
I think that you can probably
gold
have
star
any conversation and end up at programming.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, I thought you could have any conversation and wind up at chocolate. Like, you probably could.
I could.
You probably could.
I love chocolate.
To tell you the truth, I know.
Extremely food motivated.
I would have to talk to other people's families to find out if chocolate is as celebrated in their family as it is in our own.
There are apparently people who do not like chocolate.
That fucking blows my mind, man.
Like, I understand the people who are allergic to it and can't have it because death sucks early.
Yeah, early onset death.
That would be a problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, the people who just don't like it.
Yeah.
Weirds me out.
I was talking to one of my coworkers and he was saying, he's like, no, we were talking about dark chocolate. Because there's like three of us, we were all talking. My other coworker, we'll call him Tot. Tot. It's just, I'm having fun at this point.
Tiny Tot.
Yeah, we'll call him Tiny Tot, and then Friss and Tot. Friss doesn't like dark chocolate.
That's weird.
And so Tot and myself, we're like, oh my God, that's like the real jam.
Mm-hmm.
That's the stuff. I'll eat it. I'll just grab a brick of bittersweet and just take a bite out of it. Baking chocolate.
Chocolate. I've actually done that.
Stuff's nasty.
Before, and yeah, it wasn't good. Not recommended.
Oh, dude, he's gonna be like bumping into your mic and stuff.
He hurts me.
Little butthead. That's my cat. I don't know if we've mentioned him by name or not. But
is he allowed to be mentioned by
name?
Yeah. Can I use his real name?
His name is also Tots. Yeah. No, Watts. They'll never know.
Fuzzy Watts pantaloons.
There's 1,000 cats out there that look exactly like him. So
I have one.
Yeah, they would never know if they were looking at him or not, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, now I'm concerned. I'm like, shit, would I be able to pick him out of a lineup? Like,
he doesn't have the cool silhouette of a human and a cat fist bumping on his back.
Oh
though.
my God, that But like, that's fucking mind blowing that Elise has that.
Yeah.
Like,
random stray shows up
with sweet ass patterns on her.
Mm-hmm. Hi, honey.
What are you talking about? Chocolate?
Yeah. Well, we started
Chocolate
with
cow. Oh, yeah.
Programming, financial programming.
Yeah.
And yeah, so your relationship with money is like super interesting when you think about like where the way you think about it.
Yeah, the way you think about it, your interactions with it and everything like that.
And if it's all negative, then
sure,
usually shit doesn't go too well. It's like, well, we're going to have 30 animals by the end of the month.
Hey, whatever, you know? I mean, that's a life well lived right there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it can be, because I remember seeing something, it is on Facebook, I think, where it's like some hoarder lady, and this fucking number of dogs that she had, I want to say it was like over 100 or something like that, and they were just all on her land. And you know, it was like speculated that because they didn't find any dead ones, so they're like, the other ones might have ate the dead ones. Like, we don't know at this point. Like, oh, what the actual fuck, lady? Why at 50 you got 20, 10, you have an issue? Okay, 10 dogs, unless they're working dogs, let me specify, unless they're working dogs and they have jobs or something like that,
and you have a shit ton of land.
Exactly. Like, dude,
that usually is the issue. That, and you know, the deep underlying causes, probably mental health issues, misplacement of love, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some deep shit going on there.
Oh, for sure. But like, how are you going to get that many, but specifically like pets, like pet animals, and not take care of them? 100 dogs. You cannot look me in the face and tell me every single day
you're picking up 100 times, however many times they poop.
Well, okay. Well, that also, but you can't interact with 100 dogs. Like, like, all right, Petey, Tommy, Billy, Jeannie, Julie, Tiffany, Sugar, Coco, Brownie, like, call because you talk to the dogs that have people names first, and then the ones that have food names. the ones that are named like
there's a ranking system.
Yeah, like, I don't know. People name their dogs all kinds of different things, and what I'm learning after being members of some of these Facebook groups where they have like specific dog breeds, that determines what you name your dog.
Apparently, we were not as genius as we thought by naming our Norwegian Elkhound Freya.
Yeah. Odin, I think, is the top though.
Oh yeah.
I see so many Odins in that group. I'm like, and it just turns into noise at some point, because I'm like, which Odin? Be specific. Is this Minnesota Odin? Is this,
could you at least give me a state?
Yeah.
City, maybe?
Say Odin number 34. You guys are going to have to work this out amongst yourselves. And I'm over here. I name mine Dutch, It's like, winner. Like, no one else talks about another Dutch in there. Oh, the one lady did say that.
I'm going to give her a middle name, I think, to make her stand out.
Yeah. Do it. Like,
Freya. Also, so when I yell at her, I can do it with the whole
Freya, Jean. Yeah, it is. It should. Oh my gosh. Like, if it's like something like so far removed from what her actual
Freya banana.
Yeah. Freya Gonzalez. It's like totally different name from a totally different continent. Like, but yeah, so people in those groups, they name their dogs. Well, like, okay, so I was looking at getting a Kaiken, and I apologize because now we're talking about dogs, which is a big topic in our family, especially right now. And I was looking at getting.
Everybody moved, and then we all got dogs.
We all bought houses and we all bought dogs.
That tracks.
Yeah, that tracks. That's right. But the Kaiken, and that's like a Japanese dog. So everybody was naming their dog like these different like Japanese names, and I'm like,
anime characters.
Well, no, I mean, I think they were just trying to be cool. I don't know. They're like, oh, what's a Japanese name? And
Kai.
Like, well, right, and I'm like, and that's cool, but again, like I was talking to you about like earlier, I didn't want to like pigeonhole myself. Like, am I gonna be frowned upon in this group if I get a Kaiken and I don't call it something Japanese? Like,
name it Ben.
Yeah. Like
John Boy.
Well, because I pretty much already had Dutch picked out. I'm like, Dutch, it's gonna be a solid. That's a good name. That's a rock solid name.
See, and had I gone with the corgi and named it Bebop, could have Dutch and Bebop.
Dutch and Bebop. I like that. Yeah. Well, it was actually Dutch or Knives because I have Vash and his brother in that anime was named Knives. And I'm like, and if it's a girl, I could still name it Knives because of Knives from Scott Pilgrim versus the World. So I was like, oh, dude, that's airtight. No one can bust up that logic. But then now I chose Dutch instead because I'm like, I like that character from Red Dead Redemption. And I also just like the name. I think this is like that's a good, sturdy boy dog name. Dutch.
Get you gender conforming.
Dutch. Whatever, man. That's the other thing to, so fly right on back to the programming thing. I think at some point, like, there just has to be something's got to give where, because we're at this point in society, right, where we're trying to let everybody, no, you got to be inclusive. You got to let these people do their thing. It's like, yeah, but you got to understand, you got to let the other side do their thing as well.
Well,
we can't bust down all the barriers and then shame people for certain behaviors all the time.
Patton Oswalt's whole thing about, are you going to get upset about the way that somebody treats somebody, or are you going to get upset about vocabulary?
Oh, yeah, I heard that one because he's like, okay, now out of these two, you tell me who's the bigot, right? And the one guy's he's talking very like blue collar terms, like, well, you got this. I'm not going to use all the exact terminology just because I don't want to be that guy. But, I'm sure like this gets queer over here and he's just letting him love on this guy over here. And it's like, yeah, all right. But then you have the other person using like these
politically correct terms. But still putting people down. And
exactly.
that is the difference. Like, you have to be mindful of people who know the vocabulary and use it to their advantage, and people who are genuinely trying and genuinely believe that people should be able to do what they want to do, but don't have the politically correct terms.
Well, I think it's just a fine line to walk sometimes, because
I'm finding out new stuff all the time.
About what?
Like what's considered offensive.
Oh my goodness, dude, the other day.
And I'm trying.
Oh, no, it wasn't the other day. I'm sorry. This is probably
like if you're just like
a year ago
going about minding your own and living your life, you probably aren't going to learn nearly as much.
Well, no,
but like when you're actively searching for it, it's like, oh shit.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If you got to have your eyes and ears open. That's why the one day I said gypped, like, oh man, I just got gypped. And then I'm like, and I said it out loud to whoever. I'm like, fuck, is that racist? Did I just fuck? Like, oh man. And this one, I'm just gonna say it anyway because I gotta own it, right? I said the word Oriental, and I'm like, I didn't know that was offensive. How do I know what's offensive to Asian, population. I'm like, they're like, what are you from 1920? You can't say that. I'm like, I didn't know that was offensive.
Mhm.
Literally, I didn't. I never saw it in popular media or something where someone said it and someone was put down because they're like, hey, motherfucker, you can't say that. It's like, also, to me, it sounds like a pretty harmless word. Like you have like the Oriental Trading Company.
Mm-hmm.
You have Oriental flavored ramen, I think. I'm like,
oh, yeah. Which I've always wondered, what exactly does Oriental taste like?
Well, that's the other question. I'm like, I don't even know what Oriental means. What is it referring to? I'll tell you this. I stopped using it though. Not that I used it a whole bunch. I think I was just being.
To welch on a bet is deflammatory to the Welsh, I believe.
See, again, not a word I use very often. The fact that I even said Oriental was like.
I use a lot of old timey words, so I find out a lot of things are like not at all.
Wait,
okay.
Well, right. And let's just say it right there because first off, if it's old timey, you're walking a real thin line like, with anything that you're about to say.
I think cattywampus is still safe. I hope so, because it's one of my favorite words.
Cattywampus.
If it turns out that is offensive, I'm gonna cry a little.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Cattywampus, but yeah, like, so it's crazy to find out like just how much of this shit was derogatory.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were just pulling those Dr. Seuss books that they were like saying were
problematic.
Yeah, and now I'm pissed because I'm curious. I'm like, I've never read any of those books because just to be straight up about it, the older the Dr. Seuss books get, the less I give a shit about them. It's like, oh, Mama built a hen house. Like, I don't fucking, that sounds like a dumb book. Like, I don't, like, if I ran the zoo, I don't give a shit if you ran the zoo. I want to hear about the Lorax. I want to hear about the stuff from like the heyday, like
the Starbelly Sneetches.
Horton Hears a Who. Like
that one was terrible.
Horton Hears a Who?
My goodness.
Yeah, but the message
they tried to boil the who, the elephant. Yeah. Oh, the little
God.
It's the Who's, aren't they? What do they call them?
Yeah. They're the Who's.
The Who's.
Yeah.
So how tall is the Grinch?
What?
Okay, so if the Who's are on the little
the
dandelion floof,
maybe.
Then he got upset about the Who's in the Whoville. Is the Grinch like only this big, microscopic?
Oh, see, so I can't actually remember if they were called Who's because it might have just been like who did he hear or something like that.
Oh,
I can't 100% remember.
I don't know, but
we do have that book.
The weird creatures try and boil everybody in oil, and I just
they're just
found
animals.
that horrific.
They were animals.
Yeah, they're horrific animals.
Yeah, so it's kind of like an Animal Farm type deal, but the main point behind that is so fucking good because they're just like at the end. I don't remember it 100% verbatim, but I think the gist of it is a life is a life no matter how small.
Mm-hmm.
And that right there was just like, oh, God, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good shit. Because I was reading that to Felix and I'm like, dude, you can read this book whenever you want to. Because that's good shit right there.
Well, it's like the Sneetches. It was all about how, it didn't matter how you looked.
Yeah.
It was, who you were as a person. And just because you're different.
Yeah. Well, just
talk
because.
about programming.
Yeah, I know. Well, and the fucked up thing there is, the Starbellies. Oh God, there's so many layers to that book. And so I don't want to get,
because there's also consumerism.
Right. Because there's the guy
who shows up,
who's selling this shit to him and increases the divide between them. And he's like, oh, You want to have a star? I got a machine that makes stars. You can be a star-bellied Sneetch too. And they're like, wait a fucking second. You didn't have a star before, but I do now, bitch. You know?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, now I don't want a star because people like you have them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then and there's that guy who's just like profiting
off of the whole thing.
It.
Yeah. So then at the end of it, they're like broke and nobody knows who had a star originally and who didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. And that right there has, I think that, and I don't know.
Which also, I mean, the Lorax ties into consumerism a lot.
Yeah. That's another really good. You guys are probably going to hear some weird dog noises here in about a minute. So
his little snuffling noises.
Ugh, I know, but it's like so much worse than that. Ugh. What was I gonna say? But I feel like the star-bellied Sneetch one, that can be. I feel like I kind of saw that with some of the shit with this past election because it didn't seem like anybody learned anything.
Nope.
Because the years prior, everybody was crying and bitching about how Trump won.
Mm-hmm.
Rightfully so. But then they were being called snowflakes and they were, oh, we're not snowflakes. And then you turn around, oh my God. And then
watching the same people who were called snowflakes call other people snowflakes for the exact same thing.
I know. And that's what killed me. I'm like, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
That was when I like.
And now you're being assholes.
A large portion of my social medias because hypocrisy doesn't look good on anybody.
No. Oh my God. And it was just, but it's like, dude, are you seriously that, what's the word I'm looking for here? Like ignorant to your own hypocrisy?
Is the answer to that. Yes.
Holy shit.
Well, because then you have those people who justify it because they feel like, and this kind of goes back to what you were saying about the like women's pay to a certain degree.
Sure.
You know, if it was done to you, then you can then do it to somebody else.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So, oh my God. What a great argument, right?
I hear that a lot, especially in some of like the women's groups and stuff. We're like, well, men did this to us. And it's like, well, great. But if you want men on our side and you want equality, it's really hard to get that when you're like, F them all.
Yeah.
Put their heads on pikes.
Yeah. Fuck you. Fuck you guys. And that's the oldest, honestly, I think historically speaking, one of the oldest.
Oh, an eye for an eye.
Yeah. Lessons out there, right? It's like, no, he fucked me. Now I'm going to fuck him. No, you.
And none of us are going to be happy about it.
Now it is your asses who will be the ones who are fucked.
Yeah, what a shitty lesson that was.
I've
always had an issue with that too. And
well, because it's just like a never-ending loop of people getting fucked if you look at it that way. Because it's like,
right.
Okay, but now that you fucked us back, prepare to be fucked. Because by that logic, an eye for an eye for an eye for an eye for an eye.
There are a lot of cultural wars that is that's like the whole crux of it. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You did this to us, we're gonna do it right back.
Yeah, that goes, and as I said, that can just go on. Yeah, that can go on forever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
and then you get
that brings us here. Yeah. And that brings us right up to date. Okay, bye everyone.
That's your history lesson for the day.
Yeah. But yeah, the political bullshit. I was talking with some friends about that, the other day. Like we
talk about programming.
Oh yeah, people. Oh my God, people. Oh yeah, political. Jesus, let's not go there.
That's like a whole episode by itself.
Oh, dude, I don't even know if I want to go down that road.
Maybe a whole series.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it could be. But I think people thought we needed change, this round, and I think I think we got some.
I think that's what motivated a lot of people to vote for Trump, though, was that they also felt that there was a need for change. I just don't know that they really appreciated the direction that change was taking. It was more like, we need change at any cost. That's how I felt that went down.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and, but I think but
that's my personal opinion.
Sure. and you were absolutely entitled, as everybody is. What was I saying? But I think like something more like radical needs to happen that just evens out the playing field and really, because it's just the two-party system.
Oh, it's garbage.
It is. And I'm sure if you start talking about some way to like get that whole thing out of there and make it work, because really,
what it comes down to is,
are you American? Do you live in this country?
What it comes down to really, I think, is the funding and the way that we run our, what do you call when they get out there and they're like, vote for me?
Campaigning.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
My brain short circuited. Yeah. There are some countries where like they have it. If you're going to run, you're allocated like a certain amount, like across the board. Everybody has the same amount to work with.
Oh, well. That was getting...
Remove the dog.
Yeah.
And the snuffle sounds.
Fuck, he's back. That was getting loud, though. Like, he's like actively crunching over here. Whatever. That's why I called this pilot episode for the title, because like, yeah, this might make it, might not, but you know, if you're talking about your first podcast episode ever, doesn't matter what you put out there. I mean, like, is it like people
just trying to,
again, if anybody even listens to it, I'm gonna be like, cool. So you're pissed off about the dog chewing in the background? Fantastic.
You made it.
That means that you made it past an hour.
Good job.
Yeah. But yeah, there needs to be a way just to get rid of the whole two-party thing and just run based on what your actual policies are.
That would be great.
And because I was talking about this with my friend Sean, and his friend, I can't remember his name, so he'll have to forgive me for that if he hears this. It's just like people make the decision based on red or blue.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of people. That's a problem.
That's a huge problem.
That's like Coke or Pepsi.
As somebody who's nonpartisan, it is really messed up watching anything political, because it's like the world's worst tennis match.
Jesus.
You're just watching them lob insults back and forth and basically say the same thing, but in reverse at each other.
Well, I'm going to raise taxes on rich people. Well, I'm going to lower taxes on rich people. Fuck you. It's just like,
so there.
Yeah. I'm going to help the poor. Well, I'm going to fuck the poor. I'm going to make sure that they are even poorer, more poor, destitute.
With shitty drinking water.
Yeah. It's like, dude.
That's finally getting taken care of, right?
What, in Flint?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Honestly, dude.
I thought they were like, finally.
There is no shortage of news anymore. Oh my God. Oh my God.
That's just deep inhale.
Oh my God. That honestly might be where we have to end it, because I'm not going to be able to move on after that. My dog,
that was the best.
Vash, put his nose deep within a cow hoof and just. And he was, oh God, he got a good smell of that thing. Like,
thank you for joining us on the Cosmic Nonsense Happy Hour. It's been a pleasure.
I've been Jesse.
I've been Amy.
We'll see you next time.
When we discuss hippopotamuses.
Hippopotami? 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 Big water dogs.
They are big water dogs. I love that.